friends of mine said I should do house concerts. You play in a band, you do all these rehearsals and everything, and you play a venue, and maybe it's thousands of dollars. It's thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's split God knows how many ways. Tons of work. If you're traveling, and there is an element of danger and risk.
Sure.
A lot of stuff can go wrong. A lot of stuff can go right, of course, and that's why it's worthwhile to do. So I knew that. But what I learned also is that when you play to, I saw this a lot in the Bears. I remember you play to 1,000 people screaming, singing along with the song, or more, hundreds or thousands of people. And when it really gets, but your real interaction ends up being a few dozen people, maybe, who get backstage or whatever. And some of those people are real pushy, and you don't really want to talk to them. And it's a little scary, and you got to be careful about it because you don't want to say the wrong thing. And that's cool. It's all right. It's fun. And here's our deli tray. Do you want some? That kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, it's fun. It's not a bad thing. But when I finally got over my fear of being solo and playing in someone's living room, which generally will be somebody who's been a fan for 20 or 30 years, knows all your stuff, and they invite their closest friends over. And then I get to play, and when I do a house concerts, I play a long time. I mean, it's like it's a Bruce Springsteen's concert. And it's not just me and an acoustic guitar. I'm playing with tracks that I've mixed. So it's kind of like I bring the studio into a house.
Yeah.
Okay. And I started doing this 2 years ago. So I've gone into our albums, and a lot of them I have digital, like even some of the tape stuff has been digitized, so I can bring it into my digital audio workstation, which I know how to use and mix and record on, and I remix them. So it's like Rob karaoke, or the Bears karaoke, or the Raisins, or Psychodots, and I play along with it. And when I'm really close like that, the interaction, I can see I'm this close. Well, I'm not this close, but I'm 5 feet away from a woman crying.
Yeah.
Because she's so moved by it. And a lot of times a woman laughing her ass off at me too, because I'm a ham, I'm a clown, I'm a tragic comic kind of person, and that kind of thing was so fulfilling. And that's when I realized, oh, this small is the new big for me. This is the emotional connection. What's going on is so big. And I don't go running off into a dressing room after the show. I put my guitar down and sit down next to the woman that was crying and saying, "You okay?
Yeah.
Anybody hurt?" And I get to sit down next to the guy who's like really watching where my fingers are, and wants to know the pedals and stuff. And we just talk about it. It was really an enlightening experience for me to know I could bring a recording studio setup basically into a house.
Yeah. So
I did that in Florida. We did it in British Columbia. We've done it, in the Hartford, Connecticut, all points in between Chicago, Minneapolis. And we were getting ready this year to do it in California for the first time, in Arizona, go west in Texas, get some stuff, and then get back up to the Pacific Northwest. When it got all cut off. So that's what my live streams are about. I had that as a starting point and went back into the mixes, mixed them a little bit better, and my son Noah and another friend figured out the technology of getting it to sound good.
And it
if you've got
sounded amazing. I gotta say,
yeah,
it
if you've
sounded
got headphones,
amazing.
you're hearing, it's what I'm trying to do is bring the studio into a live stream. Now, quality wise, I think the best I can get audio wise and visually is maybe a 7 out of a 10. And
I
I
think
mean,
it was
that's
higher. I was so amazed by it. I think it was higher. You know, I gotta tell you real quick.
okay.
I ended up listening to and watching the live stream by chance with headphones because I mean normally I just have
Good.
my computer on and I just would be watching it. But my son was playing a video game in the room with his cousin, and I didn't have the heart to send them, packing away to go play somewhere else in the house. And so
Right. Good.
I let them do their thing, and I had headphones on, which I really don't. And I'm a music freak, but I don't wear headphones a lot, and I need to more because I realize how many albums are mixed so well for the headphones. And your live stream sounded so good, and compliments to Noah too. I mean, because from a distance, mixing all that down and then you fine tuning everything that you're playing, and it was just really, it was an amazing experience to just listen to it in headphones. I loved it, and it's so clear, so crisp, amazing.
Well, great, because I mean we've been really fighting there, and there are like 5 or 6. I mean, it could be, you could say more, but they're the software talking to each other. There's software in the phone for the videos to link, and I'm going through some studio equipment. It's funny. I've got like really good microphones in the studio, but it's funny how $100 Shure SM58, the rock and roll standard, is still the mic to use.
Yeah, after all these
Because
years.
I tried everything, and Noah kept saying, Dad, go back to try the 58 again. And then I try something else. Dad, the 58. Yeah, Noah, I am so lucky to have Noah. I don't have him. We've got each other,
Right.
but Noah has a really, spongy mind. He's really into technology. I knew I had a hot one with him because when he was 15, he called me upstairs to listen to a CD he had of the first Led Zeppelin album. He had Led Zeppelin. He was 15. I was 15 when that record came out.
Right.
And he said,
good.
listen to this. You got to listen to this. So I sat down and listened to it with him. And he said, can you believe this? And I said, it's amazing, isn't it? And he said, nobody sings like that. And I said, you're right. Nobody sings like Robert Plant.
Yeah.
Nobody. And just the production. I mean, Jimmy Page. that album is so good. What a band. What a band. And it was really cool because I realized, whoa, he's 15 and it's hitting him exactly the way it hit me and my friends when we first heard it.
Right.
I mean, whenever anybody got that album, we were just on the phone going, have you heard it yet? And then can you believe it? So he's curious and methodical and spirited, so he's totally, the whole idea, I guess what I'm getting at is the idea of doing a solo record. There really is no such thing. Even if you really do it in total isolation, you're not doing it by yourself because somebody invented this.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you designed the software yourself. Did you make that mic? Do you know how to skin a diaphragm on a large diaphragm condenser microphone? Yeah. No. At least I don't. I know who to send it to. Right. For that kind of thing. So yeah, that kind of thing is a myth. We might play all the instruments or whatever, and often I do, but even when I'm playing all the instruments, I'm like bass especially. Who am I trying to sound like? I'm either trying to play like Bob Neiswanger, my favorite bass player, Nothing against other great bass players,
Yeah.
Jepperlin, whoever, Jocko, I know. But I grew up with Bob, and he's played so well on so many records I've made. So if I can't get him, if he's not available, all I do is try to play it like Bob would, generally. Occasionally, I want to go to James Jamerson land, and that lasts for about 30 seconds when I realize I can't do that. I can't get there.
So I know we touched on this a little bit earlier in our interview, but we talked about your live stream, and I just want to go back to that because I just think it's just really such a high quality production with so many people doing their own live streams and having to just put it together on short notice. We didn't know we were going to be in this situation, and so many artists may not have been prepared for that and had to put a home studio together that was a public home studio, not just their equipment, and they had to make a stage. And I really feel as though your live stream is top notch and one of the best ones out there. So
wow, thanks.
it's so entertaining. So this is like your third season, and a season, maybe you can explain a season to people. The season is a certain amount of episodes or approximate amount of episodes.
Well, I think I can tell you the whole story. A couple of years ago, a couple of my friends were really hammering me on the fact that they thought I'd be really good at doing house concerts. Small, independent, mobile, traipse around the country when I got breaks, and do it. And it seems scary to do that. On the other hand, I've got tons of material. And the thing that I didn't like about that idea was that, does that mean I just play through a mic and maybe a small PA system or whatever in a living room or somebody's backyard, and it's just acoustic Rob? And while I like acoustic music a lot, and that's generally how I'll write a song, I like electronic production, and I'm an electric guitar player. So I had seen Todd Rundgren. I remembered from like the mid 70s, when I was a kid. I saw him do a concert, and the beginning of the concert, maybe the first 40 minutes of it, he just played to studio tapes, piano, sang his songs. A Dream Goes On Forever, whatever. The tape broke during the show, and he kept playing, being the trooper he was. And for me, it was a really exciting thing. And I don't know if he said this, but what I felt like is he brought the studio into the concert hall, into Ford Auditorium in Detroit. And it just always stuck with me. And then when I saw other bands and performers, I realized a lot of people were lip syncing, things like that. When I saw Todd, he was really playing.
Yeah.
Probably flubbed a piano chord or two. But I loved it. I just loved it because I'm a studio cat. I like recording studios. At that point in my life, I already had a 4-track TAC, so that kind of thing has always been like magic to me. So I realized I could probably do that. I could probably go into my albums and band albums, find material, and just see what would work, where I could have drums, bass, keyboards, synths, other backing vocals, and play my guitar and sing. So it'd be, in a sense, kind of Rob karaoke in the house concerts. And at first I had like 11 songs I did that way, and then maybe half the night would be just broken down acoustic performances. Because sometimes it's cool to do that. But I'm going to say this, and I know this is going to be on YouTube, but listening to Eric Clapton play Layla acoustic unplugged, I would rather have like forks stuck in my ears, because I don't like it. I don't like unplugged all the time. I like it sometimes. And I mean, I love Layla with Derek and the Dominoes. I saw Derek and the Dominoes play Layla,
Awesome.
So, I've got something to compare to, what's exciting, what's like, oh my God, versus, snooze fest. So I didn't want to be a snooze fest with my own stuff.
I mean, definitely, it's definitely not a snooze fest because it's you keep it funny, you keep it light, and you have guest members here and there, and it's just really neat. And I mean, you started back on March 27th. I mean, the things started kicking out of place on the 13th of March last year, and you were there. And I know, like you said, the home shows helped to get you ready for that, to prepare that. But you really did jump into action. You had to be one of the first ones to really say, I got to do something here. I have to, for my peace of mind, and also to just keep people and keep yourself in front of people, and to keep making the music. And
Well, so I did that a couple of years ago, and I started with like 11 tracks, and then I probably was up to maybe 22 by last March. And then I was booking shows. We were planning on going. We've been to the Pacific Northwest and Florida and the East Coast, and we were going to go to the Southwest, but everything got canceled. And my son Noah is a drummer. He plays all over my new record, and he also is a stage tech. And he lost all his work. So before it dawned, I did not know how long this pandemic would last. I thought we'll get through this thing. I should have known better. I've read about the Black Death and things like that. But initially, it was just to give Noah some work, and because he said he thought we could do a live stream. And then it really got involved. It was tricky. There's a lot of different software. A lot of it doesn't work well. It doesn't talk with each other. I don't have a camera or a switching system or anything like that. But he guided me through it, and another tech person I know, Gordon Rankin, helped me. So the technical aspects of it were way beyond me, but I had two helpers explaining, let's try this, let's try that. So Noah and I, for about 10 days straight, worked 16 or 18-hour days fighting software, just getting stuff working. And then by the skin of our teeth, we got the first show out. And I thought maybe I'd do 6 of them. And immediately it was just like, oh, I need more material. So I was even getting like ADAT tapes of the Bears out and transferring to my software and mixing, playing along with it, remixing, sometimes 11 mixes before it started sounding right. Sometimes I got it right the first time, not often. But we just did it, and I'm a natural ham. I mean, I'm a performer. Obviously, I do that stuff, and it took me a while. It was really uncomfortable to not have an audience. But then I realized, oh well, I'll have some canned audience. I could go to GarageBand, and I've got sheep, I've got big applause, I've got boos, I've got all this crappy production stuff, and I just kept doing it, and for the first season was just exhausting, because as soon as I was done, I was figuring out the set list for the following week, and it was and I was never satisfied. I mean, just cringing. And the other thing that happens with me is I get really sick of myself. I like playing with other musicians. I like doing other guys' songs or women's songs, whoever persons. But the more I dug in, the more I realized it was kind of like this endless fountain. And people started requesting the weirdest songs, stuff, I hadn't played since 1980. Can you do that one? And it was like, no, I can't do it. And then, well, maybe I could. So I started getting help from Bob Neiswanger, who was in the Raisins, Psychodots, and Bears. He's got a home studio. Bam Powell, a drummer, he's got a home studio. So they helped me with this too. Just kind of sent them assignments. And the other thing that happened was I wanted the shows to be free because everybody I knew was out of work. But I also, there are people that are able to be patrons. So we made it possible for them to, PayPal or Venmo me some money. And it really has just been like a production fund. So the shows have paid for themselves. I've been able to pay some bills, and actually sometimes there's been more than enough money, so I've been able to send. Um, I call them Space Jam dividend checks. If there's people that have played on the tracks I'm using, I'm sending them royalty checks. There's no contracts for this stuff or anything like that. I'm just doing it, and because I've felt during this pandemic, this is not a time to exploit. I just don't want to do that. I've been exploited so much. I just wanted, if I'm singing along with someone, a friend, they're part of the show, even though they're not here.
Yeah.
And I just, in this case, I should be paying them like it's a little gig. So, and I managed to do that only through the patronage, which is absolutely voluntary. And that's where, I mean, it's been pretty miraculous that has worked out that way. So far, so good. Anybody in this, we're all freelancers, and that segment of the economy obviously just imploded.
Yeah.
So
I talk to so many artists that, that they do work together with other people in their vicinity, especially during this time, where if you live in an area that, we're not traveling, we're not really doing collaborations right now as much, as we would like to, I'm sure. And so people just all work together. You see someone with 20 credits on an album, and if they're an up and coming artist, if there's someone that just is getting started, which I talk to a lot of developing artists too, and if they're just getting started and they have 20 people helping them, they can't possibly pay all those people. And I learned from them what you're talking about is they help each other. You play guitar on this album and I'll do this here. I'll sing some backup vocals, and they all just get together, and it's about the music. Sure, everyone's trying to make a living, of course, but they can look past that during these times, especially, but even in the everyday times, they say, hey, just, I want you to play this guitar lick. I'll sing some backup vocals. You trade services, and it's cool.
Yeah. It takes discernment. I mean, I do get a lot of requests to do stuff for practically free or free from people. And sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. And usually the determination is if it's going to cost me money, if I'm going to be turning down work so I can do this for free, I don't do it.
Of course.
Because I am supporting other people. I've got a family,
right.
But it's not like I'm not a saint. I've generally discovered things go full circle.
Right. And you bring up your family. We take a moment, and you talked about Noah. I know Noah does the engineering. Your wife sometimes comes out and sings a song with you. It's just so cool that the family's involved in a musical way in your show.
Yeah, well, they're the only people around. If I could get my beagle to sing, I'd get Tilly to sing too. But yeah, Swanee, my wife, she's a really good keyboardist, and she's from a very musical family, but has never sung professionally. She's sung little bits on my records. I'll say, "Come in here and do this." So she's really, I've just pulled her into the realm, and I don't know how comfortable she is with it.
She looks like she's having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, we have fun. I mean, yeah, we just have fun. And the other thing is, it's not going to be perfect. If I get sound and performance to maybe a 7 out of a 10, I just figure that's a win. If I want to get stuff perfect, or perfectly imperfect, whatever you do when you're recording, I'll do it there. But I know this isn't going to be. I mean, these are just not ideal circumstances. So we're doing the best we can with what we have, where we are.
Well, again, like I said before, I think it's a very high quality home studio production, home stage, and it's just, and so people should go and look for this. And I mean, on Saturday nights, typically when you do it, when you're in season, you know, and you might do 8 or 9 weeks in a row, and they can go to YouTube and look this up. Rob Fetters is cheap, and they could look that up and see. It's usually 8 o'clock Eastern time, correct?
No, it's 9 o'clock Eastern time. Generally Saturday nights at 9.
Oh, okay.
So it's 8 o'clock
I'm sorry.
Central.
Yes, I'm sorry. You're right. 8 Central. I'm
six
stuck in
o'clock.
Chicago. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3
Nine
3
o'clock.
p.m. I think it's the afternoon in Hawaii. I know our Hawaiian viewers, and it's fun. My another one of my sons, pointed out that I'm competing with, I don't know, Elton John and Lady Gaga and stuff like that. So bring it on, baby.
And you're keeping it real. You really are. You're keeping it real. It's just, you know, you have fun with it, and it's high quality sound, and just it's a lot of fun. I really truly enjoyed it, and it was fun to watch all the people in the chat room, the regulars and the new people each week. That, you know,
Yeah.
there's people that you see their names, they're commenting and everything. And then you see it's a brand new. Oh, I'm just calling it from here. This is really great. I never saw this before. So it's great to see that mix of people in your audience, in your virtual audience.
Yeah, I hope we can keep it up. I mean, it's kind of, goes up and down. Usually by after 2 weeks, though, hundreds of people, if not over 1,000, have watched these things. So
That's great.
really helping people. And the big thing, I'll get, like, patrons will put some money in the coffers, but I get a lot of communications from people that just they are in tough straits, and they love the show, and it means a lot to them, because I mean, I'm as depressed about the world as anybody else. I just fake it. And once I get going, I'm better too. So it's healing all around, I think.
You know, I've done something. I've done a trivia show online on Monday. That's music trivia, and just because of the same reason. I mean, I'm not at a place in my performing career where I could be doing a show. However, I do these music trivia nights for the same reason, just to keep people, upbeat, and it's always positive. It's not political. It's always about music. I don't let people go in any political directions with their answers that get silly or anything.
Yeah.
And people have come out and sent people. I have connected with people that I haven't talked to for years, that I used to work with in the music industry, that I haven't seen. They're on the West Coast, the East Coast, and they're typing in answers at 10 o'clock at night. It's just been so fun to do, and we do it every Monday night. And like you said, at first it was, I just was doing a daily question. I said, oh, between 4 and 5 I'll do this, and it got to be hard to say every day for that, between that 1 hour I'd have a question up there. Well, now I do Monday nights for a couple hours sometimes, and I'm doing prep work for a couple hours of questions, but the people are so happy and interactive, and it's just been fun. So I understand that we're doing a service and stuff, just keeping people upbeat and happy and talking about the music, or listening to it.
And it's keeping our chops up. I mean, I probably
Yeah,
playing
it's great.
guitar better,
Yeah.
6 months ago.
That's
At least I'm more used to standing up and playing.
Yeah, that's great.